outsider survivor here with a couple of choice items that I like to bring with me when I go out into the woods. Just a few kit items that you don't always see being used. Some food items. Now, I love to have lots of food when I go out in the woods. The amount of energy you burn out there, it just seems better to me to have all that extra food. It makes me feel more comfortable. It's my comfort blanket. And so it's one of the things I like to leave lots of room in my pack for. It's extra food. I know they say you don't need it in the rule of threes. It falls kind of far back on the rule of threes, but food is an excellent morale builder and keeps you sharp and alert and healthy and full of energy. So to me, it's completely valuable, and I consider it an important piece of my kit, and it goes right at the top. A lot of people take for a quick fuel source outside of your power bars and things like that, but when you want some meat to eat or a wholesome meal, hearty meal, a lot of people take cans of tuna fish, and that's inexpensive and it's got a good source of protein and they're readily available. I prefer sardines, and a can of sardines, this particular brand, the Crown Prince skinless boneless sardines. I don't know if you can make that out, but it has 52% of your daily recommended allowance of protein. I believe it's especially high. It's higher than all the other ones and all the other meat products that I found at my grocery stores, which went to a couple different ones. So it's totally loaded, and you eat one of these and you feel energized, and the fish breaks down quickly and is absorbed quickly into your system. And once you've eaten that, you have the oil, which I always get the ones with oil in it. They have many other flavors, or water, but I prefer oil. It always has more calories and more fat, and in a survival emergency situation, that's what you're looking for. So but it has that oil in it, and now you can use that as a lubricant for a gun, or to help keep it from rusting. A lot of them have olive oil, which will work. You can use it, even though it would smell. You can use it as bait. You soak that oil up in a rag and leave it on your trap, and it is extremely fragrant and will bring anything that is in range of that's downwind of that smell, will bring it in. Any kind of little possum or raccoon or small rodent that wants to eat that, or maybe even a bear, would come running for that smell. It's pretty pungent. Once you've done that, you can take, if you've emptied your can of its oil and soaked it up in a rag and set your traps, and you're all done with that, you have the can itself, which can be used, cut up, made into small knives or bits of metal for whatever you need. There are many ways to use small bits of metal in survival situations. So you can use the can for that, or you can take it, fill it up with tree resin from pine trees or conifers, and that combined with some moss makes an excellent lamp or torch that you can make from these sardine cans. It's good for starting fires for the same way. Fill it with that resin and moss, and it acts like a grease lamp. Slide it underneath your wood that needs to be burned, especially if it's moist, and get that fire going. So many uses for the sardine cans, not to mention really keeping you on your feet, keeping you sharp with plenty of energy in your body. So I take sardines over tuna fish, and if somebody else can find a canned meat source like that has a higher protein levels and more in it for you than the sardines, let me know about it. I'd love to, always looking to upgrade my kit. Something else I always take, grains. If you want to go for long trips, one of the only ways of doing that is stocking up on the grains. Now, I have here is an 8-grain breakfast cereal. I've seen 10-grain cereals, 12 and 14-grain breakfast cereals. So you heat that up, and you've got yourself a real hearty start to the day. I added whole oats to this one, and I thought that was real nice. It mixes it up. Throw in a hand of trail mix, and you got yourself a heck of a breakfast. There are a lot of other grains that work that are not just breakfast foods, though, that you could eat this for every meal if you needed to in a survival situation. But there are other grains like amaranth or quinoa, which are power grains and will really help keep you on your feet. They've got way more in them than rice. And if you're gonna carry rice, which is an option, it does take a while to hydrate unless it's an instant rice, but most of those are white rices and they have very little in them that keeps you going. You want the wild rice or a brown rice if you're gonna take rice. Wild rice, though it's expensive, is super nutritious. But yeah, I'll write up the names, quinoa and amaranth and stuff, so you can see how they're spelled out. South American grains that are just really help keep you on your feet. There's a bunch of other ones out there that you can take, but you can pack them down and add them to any, all kinds of meals. Lots of ways you can use those grains, but store them in a large bag, and you don't have to have a whole bunch of pre-packaged containers and little bags and sacks of oatmeal or whatever. Just put it all in one big bag and bring a measuring cup. So one of the other little tip items that I have here today, this helps you ration your food. If you're in an emergency situation, now you'll know exactly how much food you have for how long. You can project it out because you have a measuring cup. You can say, okay, I'm gonna get exactly this many, an eighth of a cup of grain, that's breakfast, that's all I get. You can always ration yourself, and if you gotta extend it, then you just cut those numbers in half and extend it even further. So it's the way of rationing yourself is bringing that measuring cup, which is one of the other tip items that I have that goes along with the grains. Good to have, and you can carry so much food and go so long with power grains like these. One of the other items is Neosporin. This and a pair of tweezers is the bulk of what I use for my first aid kit. Neosporin with pain relief. Now, Neosporin's primary ingredient is white petroleum gel, and that is an accelerant. It burns really good. You can use this to start fires with. It will catch with the ferrocerium rod if you work it into a piece of lint or into a piece of cotton material, cotton ball. It'll burn just like a grease lamp for 15-20 minutes. If you've got a bunch of cuts or scratches or abrasions, you just rub this stuff on like sunblock, and the next day it's almost entirely healed. It is a really, really useful product. You could use it to lubricate a bow drill. You could probably use it on a gun barrel to keep it from rusting, though that seems like a waste of Neosporin. But if you needed it and it was important, you could do it. It's got many uses. Neosporin, absolutely love it. Take it with me every time. I put one tube in the pocket of my pants, and one tube in the kit, and one tube in the back of the backpack, just so I always got one somewhere, one in the first aid kit. It's good to have. Neosporin. Another item that I found I have here is this is my alcohol stove made from Vienna sausage can. It fits right around my candle lantern. Now this little candle lantern, it's just big enough there to hold 4 tea candles inside of it. I got it from REI, and it wouldn't have been particularly awesome in competition with the REI candle lantern that already exists. It has a 9-hour candle that burns up. It's spring-loaded and burns up gradually over time, and it's a pretty good candle lantern. But I discovered at Cost Plus World Market, they sell a 6-hour tea candle. Most tea candles only burn for about 45 minutes. These little suckers go for 6 hours. I have yet to find any kind of fire-starting fuel source, anything that is this small and this light that will burn for 6 hours. That pretty much pushed them ahead in my mind, and so I dropped my old REI candle lantern with the other style of candles, and I got this significantly cheaper candle lantern with significantly cheaper candles from Cost Plus World Market. They were $7.50 for a bag of 50 of them. I don't know, it's 500 hours of, or 400 hours of light or something. I mean, that's amazing. That's light and fire for 6 hours. One of these in your survival tin would last you for years if you were just using it in a fire kit, even if you use it all the time. Just to start a fire, then put it out, put it back in the tin. I mean, 6 hour tea candles. That's amazing. So I traded up my REI lantern and went with the little tea candle lantern because of these 6 hour candles. So order them over the internet, do what you gotta do, stockpile them for $7.50, 50 6-hour tea candles. I want to see anyone who can find a fuel source that can beat that. That's just amazing to me. One of the other things I take with me in my fire starting kit are the fuel tablets from the Hexi-Block fuel stoves. Now these are real common. You can grind the Hexi-Block up with your ferrocerium rod, by the way, which works excellently. You just take it and take the edge of your ferro rod, and you can just scrape into the material, and it just comes off in little flecks and powders. And you gather up this material in a little pile. It doesn't take much. Just a corner of one of these little Hexi-Block grids will be more than enough to do it. And you grind that up into a powder, and you can ignite it with the ferrocerium rod. Now it takes a few more strikes usually than your alcohol accelerants or your wet fire tablets and stuff. They're covered in a fluid and they light up really easy. So this is a little bit harder to light up. It takes a few more hits, but it goes and it burns, and then you light the other fuel tablet or your 6-hour tea candle and you're set. So you have a source of fire that's ready to go. And these little fuel tablets, by the way, each one of these little grids will burn for 15 minutes. And you want to start fire in wet country out here, this is the way to go. I like these little fuel tablets. That's an essential part of my kit for years. I put them in there years ago and I use them all the time. They're just fail safe. They're awesome. I have no problems with them. This whole box, which I don't even know how many fuel tablets are in here, was $3 at the it was $3 at the Surplus in Woodinville, and that's just unstoppable. Like, there's 8 of these whole blocks in here, and each one of these 8 has another block in it, and each one of those little blocks will burn for 15 minutes. So, I mean, it's just a ton of fire for $3 with the, with the candles. I'm good to go. I have my ferrocerium rod, my neosporin, and a little bit of lint, and I have never had a problem getting a fire going with that, except for in the absolute wettest conditions. But even then, I can get the fire started. Whether or not I can keep it going, that's up to me. But I got surefire here with these materials, and I've never really had a problem with it. So try it out. If you got a suggestion, I want to hear about it. But these are just a few of the kit items that I take with me that have served me well. All right, stay safe in the woods.